Welcome to the Michigan Short-Term Rentals Podcast. My name's Tony Stancato, here with my co-host Jordan Painter. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Not much. Memorial Day is coming in hot. Means it's going to be a busy weekend, fun and work-wise. So, what you got going?
We got just some family stuff. Probably do a picnic, hang out. Getting ready. We got a big Parade of Homes tour next weekend, so prepping for that. Packing a bus full of our best clients and favorite people, and taking them around to baller houses, brand new builds around West Michigan. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Super excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah, that should be a good time. So, yeah, we're pretty booked up. I think every property is booked up this weekend. So, definitely gonna be a busy one. And interestingly enough, I mean, they didn't all come in until probably the last like 5 or 6 days. So super excited to see all those get booked up. We have one that'll be its first booking. So always nerve-wracking to get that first booking, hopefully get that 5-star review. Always gotta get those 5-star reviews off the first one, you know?
Yeah, start off strong. So
yeah, so today we wanted to talk about the mindset needed for hosting a vacation rental. Mindset is kind of probably one of the last things that people think about when it comes to vacation rentals, but it probably is one of the biggest things when you do vacation rentals. And I know when we first started out, um, I mean, we've never done it before. And a lot of times when you're doing something that you've never done before, it can be, um, it can wear you down and, yeah, take a toll on you, right? So it was a few weeks of high stress there as we got it prepped and ready to go. But we just want to share 5 different, attributes that you could use for your mindset to just make sure you're in the right place and that you're handling it right. And if you think you'd have a problem with some of these, maybe being a host isn't the right thing for you, but doesn't mean you can't get a vacation rental. It does just so happen that we own a property management company, Book and Gather. So if you want to be hands off and leave it to us, we can take care of that for you as well. So the first one, and I think this is one of the biggest ones, and if you're in any of the Facebook groups where people share stories and all that, I mean, you'll see that there's quite a few people out there that are hosting that you just don't think should be hosting, and it's because they don't seem to be guest focused or guest oriented. I've seen so many things where people make it sound like the guest is privileged to be able to stay at their home, and they tend to blame and complain about the guests, and that's just not the right mindset to have.
yeah, I would agree. I think when you set these things up, it really is for the average investor, that especially if it's your first one or you're smaller, it's a labor of love, and you put your blood, sweat, and tears into these things. You spend all this time making it perfect. You have this really emotional connection in a lot of cases to this property. And so, yeah, it's easy to have. I almost look at it. It's kind of like the union mindset, where you got the management and you got the workers, and they're at odds with each other, and they're fighting and trying to get what's theirs. And people forget that own these properties, our job is to create a amazing experience for our guests, and they are paying us money. And without them, your vacation rental doesn't make money. You lose your investment. And so it's really important to keep in mind that I have always hated the saying that the customer's always right, because that's definitely not the case. But in most cases, there's things that we can do to fix issues and to resolve issues and to do little things that improve that guest experience. So like it's almost like being a parent. You talk to your kids, and it's like you choose how to react to situations. You can choose joy, you can choose anger, you can choose to react negatively. Tony did such a good job when we first had our vacation rental. I'll never forget everybody like watching the Ring cameras, like, oh my gosh, look what they're doing, and everybody's freaking out. And had a few issues out of the gate, and it took a while for us to adjust to that. But through all these issues, Tony always has been really good about kind of seeing the bright side of things and trying to work with people and create solutions to issues that are caused. So that mindset that he's come into it from has really helped to get those 5-star reviews and to continue. One of the things that Tony always says is you really got to look at the long game. You know, if you have a bad experience, whether it's your fault or the guest's fault, and they give you a bad review, that one negative experience that person had, regardless of who was at fault, is going to impact future bookings, future revenue, all those things. So it's not just about this one situation or this one person, it's about the future.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that I would say is very common that I see in the different Facebook groups is like, oh my gosh, like Jordan wrecked my pillowcase. Should I charge the guest for that pillowcase? And, you know, in my mind, I don't know. I go to a hotel. One time we went to a hotel and, you know, they put a $50 hold on your credit card or whatever for incidentals, right? Well, I got three boys, you know, and they think a hotel is a jungle gym, right? And they broke a lamp. And I'm like, oh, well, this will be interesting to see if, you know, they use that as an incidental charge and charge me that $50. They didn't, you know, and I think that's probably the right way to handle it. I mean, on the smaller things, we kind of have the mindset of let it go, not worth it. One time we've tried to charged a guest, did a bunch of fingernail polish all over, took a lot of extra cleaning, you know, wrecked a sheet in a pillowcase. I mean, it was probably $150 worth of stuff. You know, we tried to make a claim with Airbnb, but what Airbnb did was like they ended up connecting us with the host and us trying to collect that $150 from the guests. And it was our own property. And it's like, dude, it's not even worth it. That's just such a bad experience for me to go after the guests for that. Like, so we ate that one. We have insurance basically on all the stays. So if something like that pops up, we can just file a claim with an insurance and we'll get the $20-$30. But a lot of times it's like, dude, it's not even worth messing with that kind of stuff. You know, the amount of time and effort it takes to recoup $20, like let it go. The 5-star reviews worth way more than, you know, that $20.
Yeah, and the time, the effort, and just the emotional toll. If you're in this business and you let that stuff bother you and you get angry about it, you're going to be mad all the time. And you're always going to find something that a guest did that you're not happy with. So you just got to, some of this stuff, you just got to let it roll off your shoulders and expect it, right? So, but being guest focused and going into each interaction with that mindset that the guest is there for an experience. My job is to provide that experience. Really changes the way you view when these issues come up and the way you handle them.
Absolutely. All right. Number 2, detail oriented. This is something that you have to get good at, being detail oriented. Not everybody is naturally detail oriented. I think neither one of us are naturally detail oriented, but you know, in this, you almost have to become detail oriented. You know, like I've been able to increase my level of detail just because it's very important for this. And I mean, it's detail orientedness across like a lot of different aspects, right? So for us, we go into a house and it's like, hey, the pillows aren't laid out right. You know, maybe the coffee station's not made properly, but it's like, it's the details matter. Like if we go in and the pillow says Michigan and the pillow's upside down, like that, it might be a small thing, but I mean, that's also going to play into kind of that guest experience, right? So got to make sure that stuff's dialed in. And we've done that with, you know, books that show, hey, really important that this is placed right, or that the towels in this area are placed correctly. But then it also goes to your listing description, to your photos. Like I've seen just really like small and bland, you know, vacation rental descriptions. Like you want to add details in there and you want to, you know, draw out some emotion. And so the level of detail in that is definitely something that you want to focus on as well. And then, you know, even your numbers at the end of the month, like going back and looking, hey, how was this number compared to last month? And what changed? How could I get better at this? So there's a lot of different things to keep an eye on. And you just got to get good at that in this game.
Yeah, it really is important. Coming in out of the real estate industry, it's never been one of my strengths. So it took me a while to build those checklists and those systems and those processes. And I've never gotten, I wouldn't say personally good at it, but that's where you delegate and elevate and have people that, some people love that stuff. And so finding people that, if it's not going to be you, who's going to be the person that's doing that? And even from when we first opened our first rental, we had this unbelievably well-documented cleaning guide for the cleaners with pictures and descriptions, and here's how you fold the sheets, and here's how you fold the bottom of the roll of toilet paper that's left hanging there. And those things, like Tony mentioned, even down to the pillows, that first impression matters to people when they walk in. And holy cow, we just had our 2-bedroom this last weekend. It's a decent property. It's really well done, but it's nothing special. It's under $200,000 property. The guest said it was the best one she'd ever stayed in. And every time I hear that, it's like the bar must be low, because but it's because of those details. It's because the pillows are just right. The blankets are just right. The guest book is just right. All those details matter. So when people go into that experience, they're feeling a certain way when they get there, and that just carries through. In the more detailed you are when we talk about the guest book and the cleaning book and what's there, the less phone calls you're going to get, the less hassles you're going to have, the less turnover issues you're going to have. So if you can really key in on the details, it's a lot of work on the front end, but oh man, it saves tons of effort and stress on the back end.
And one thing that we've done to help with the detail orientedness is like we've built in some, checks and balances where it's like, hey, the cleaners aren't going to catch everything. They're there, especially on like same day turnovers. It's like they got to go, right? So getting an inspector in after they get done cleaning to just inspect those things that we expect to be a certain way. So they'll go in, check, make sure everything's on par and then the way that they should be. So that's been a huge help. It is a little bit of an additional cost. Like we pay minimum $10, like whether they're there 3 minutes or 15 minutes. But if it starts creeping into like, hey, they got 45 minutes worth of stuff to fix, they go to an hourly rate. But again, that's something that we think is mandatory for just keeping our properties at that next level.
Yep. Those details. That's that first impression when there's a dirty rag in the dishwasher or in the sink or whatever. I mean, it's amazing how many little things can get missed. So
yeah. Number 3, persistence. So this is just one of those things where it's like you got to go in it with a mindset of like you're going in it to win it. And you know what? Things are going to come at you. And again, that you didn't expect to happen. Guess what? Things are going to go wrong. Like, I feel like, I don't know where it comes from, whether it's social media, and it's probably social media, right? Like everybody shares the glorious, parts of business and life, right? What they don't share is the 9:30 a.m. Guest call when you're with family and, hey, there's sewage backing up out of the drain. We're doing what we can to, empty it and stop it. But can you help me? Yeah, like what a terrible situation. And like, obviously that's not my ideal Sunday, right? But like that stuff's going to happen. You're dealing with a property, and properties are always going to have issues. Also, like you say, your favorite part of the business in most businesses is the people. So when you're dealing with people, guess what? You're going to run into issues. You're going to have a lot of good, and sometimes you're going to have some bad. But you need to know that going into it, that you're just going to have to persist through this stuff, and this kind of stuff is going to happen along the way.
Yeah, 100% going to happen, going to have issues. Having that, again, that mindset of persistence, of attacking these issues and finding solutions. Every issue, every problem in a business is an opportunity. And that's a mindset shift. It's not a problem when they clog the toilet. Okay, well, what did you can go down the road of what the heck did you flush down the toilet? Or you can say, hey, I'm so sorry you're having that problem. We're going to fix it right away. We're going to get somebody. So the way that you're coming after it instead of finding fault and blame, you're finding a solution. So working towards a solution and using those opportunities where there's issues to show them, hey, this is how we're different. Toilet's going to clog, but we're going to go above and beyond. Not only we're going to get that toilet fixed, we're going to send you some donuts, or we're going to send you a coffee coupon or something like that.
Yeah.
For the hassle. So it's really that above and beyond every single thing that people do, the issue that people have, you're going above and beyond to fix it and make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that drain, that backup, sewage coming out of the drain in the shower is a real life example, right? And I don't know about you, but that's not my ideal scenario for a vacation. Seems like it could leave a really bad taste in your mouth, as you're checking out. This is an issue that you're dealing with. So not ideal, but again, like you said, the way you handle it, the way you come about it, the way, hey, I'm on top of it. I'm getting after it. I'm going to find a solution. Sorry so much for the inconvenience. And then like that guest still left us a 5-star review. And again, it's just all about how you come about that particular issue and how you handle it. So number 4, you need to have a constant improvement mindset. I come from manufacturing world and lean manufacturing. And I mean, that's all about like constant improvement and trying to figure out ways to better the system, better the process. So this is one of those things too, like you can't be a set it and forget it type of host. Otherwise you will kind of just fall by the wayside. Like, because I also come from the SEO game, right? And it's in SEO, it's like someone's always trying to write that next best piece of content to dethrone you and, take over that number 1 position. It's the same in Airbnb where, you might not, there might be 5-10 people not even worried about like improving their listing. But guess what? There's a whole line of people behind you. They're trying to jump in front of you. They're trying to add amenities that people want to come stay at. They're playing with pricing. They're playing with description, photos, that kind of stuff. People are trying to take their property to the next level. And if you're not one of those people, then you can expect to get surpassed at some point.
Yeah. No matter what you do, no matter how well you do it, there's always room for improvements. There's always things that change. There's shifts in the market. There's shifts in what people want. There's shifts in the competition. There's always ways to improve things that we do. So I remember one time when we had first opened our rental, Tony and Lindsay had to clean. And they went there and Tony's like, this is stupid the way they're doing this. This is all backwards. It takes way too long. And getting your hands dirty and getting in the meat of things, we were able to make it more efficient. You get, again, that lean process that you go through, really become more efficient in the cleaning process, which saves time. You're paying by the hour. You're in a time crunch and your cleaners have 2 or 3 other houses maybe that need to get cleaned. So paying attention to those details and improving the little things, from how they're doing those, going about the process of cleaning a house, to how you're communicating more efficiently, to setting up the automated things that we've talked about in the past. There's always things that can do better, looking around at being the best, right? So, hey, everybody's got a hot tub in your market now. You were setting yourself apart because you had a hot tub. Well, what's next? What else can you do?
Pickleball, baby. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a low competition. It's expensive. It's a little harder to do. You got to have enough space for it. So it may not be pickleball. It may not have to be pickleball, but what are the things that you can improve in the guest experience to be the best? And you want to be not 1 step ahead. You want to be 5 or 10 steps ahead. You want to be so much better that the competition looks at it. It's like, you know what? That's we're not competing with them. We're going to compete with these other people down here. We're going to go after the second tier. So yeah, always improving those opportunities.
Yep. And one thing that I've been really focused on lately, and something that if you want to take small steps towards improving, is just look at the guest communication, right? When a piece of guest communication comes in, is there something you can do? Ideally, you want to make sure you eliminate that. So question comes in about early check-in, right? So you haven't clearly communicated how that's going to work and whether it's going to be allowed, or you haven't automated it in a certain way, or even like we just got a question about the pool heater the other day, right? So it's like, okay, well, I need to go back to my listing and say, hey, the pool is heated. It's set at 85 degrees. We should also probably get a thermometer. We don't want people messing with the thermometer or the temperature, because you could set it to 95 or 100 or whatever, right? And we don't want it that hot, right? But we should have a floating thermostat in the pool, probably, so that the guests can check it if they want to see, oh yeah, it's 72 degrees. But just adding additional communication into that listing and telling people that they can check it here if they think it's maybe off. But then all of a sudden we meet that need before it even becomes like a problem for that guest. So if a question keeps coming up, just find a way, how can I stop this question or stop this request from happening? Not that it's a bad request necessarily, but you also don't want to be answering the same thing over and over and over again. So find a way to fix it or automate it so that you can be more efficient and use your time to do something else.
Awesome. The last one's probably my personal favorite, collaboration. So, we're collaborating with all kinds of different people. I love having the partnership that I have with my business partners. That part of it makes it fun, but we're collaborating with all kinds of people, and none of us are experts at everything, right? So we all have our certain strengths that we bring to the table. And I think that when you're looking at collaboration and culture, same concept as that whole union concept of management versus workers. The way that you treat the people who work for you is going to have a direct impact on the way that they treat your guest, right? And so your house cleaners, your plumbers, your electricians, your handy people, those people are just as important as the guests, and you got to treat them as such. And you got to find, once you find good ones, you find a good housekeeper, they're worth their weight in gold. And we're on some of these chats, on different social media outlets, and people are complaining about the quality of their people and doing all this stuff. It's like, well, if you're treating them the way that you're speaking about them, of course they're not going to do a good job for you. So I think that collaboration piece is so important, and it's so important to serve everyone that you are working with or that's working for you in the same way. So
absolutely. And I would say sometimes there can be the least likely collaboration that can actually be some of the best collaboration you can do, right? So we're property managers and we are real estate agents, right? So a lot of times you would think, hey, who aren't we going to collaborate with? A lot of times you would think, hey, we're not going to collaborate with other agents, or we're not going to collaborate with other property managers. Well, we just signed a property to be managed that was a referral of a real estate agent, and it's a very nice property in an area that it's hard to find vacation rentals in. Very nice property. So, and that came as a referral from another real estate agent in our market. So that's something that you wouldn't necessarily think of as somebody that we'd collaborate with. The other thing is, hey, we just got a referral. For some reason, they couldn't host a guest that they had previously had booked. And so a property manager reached out to us. Hey, could you guys take this guest, for us? Do you have a spot for him? Absolutely. Like, who would have thought? Property managers sharing, being able to place different, and that was $5,000. So you just never know where some good collaboration will take you. It's not a finite pie necessarily. So make sure even, reaching out to other people and collaborating and having some good, getting some coffee and just good discussion with other people can definitely, be good for your business. And the same, if we needed to place somebody else and we didn't have a place to put them, that would be great to have a couple other property managers in the area that we could say, hey, do you have a spot open for this person? Because at the end of the day, it goes back to number one, and that's being guest oriented. And you want to make sure that if you do need to find a place for them, you have options.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. Well, I think that's pod. Talk to you guys next time.
Been fun.
All right. Take care.